welcome back to another video. Actually showing my face for the first time. Yeah, so basically I'm gonna be showing you guys how to I'm gonna be introducing you guys to one of my own personal PDAs that I've personally discovered. I'm claiming it. Mine, right? Of basically spending countless times within the market, years, right? It's all based on time, right? It's a confluence of the quarterly theory and ICT concepts. And no, I am not in no one's mentorship. I've been asked this question for like the past year now. I'm not in anybody's mentorship. Everything I've learned, right, is either from ICT, right, or basically me reverse engineering his things, just utilizing Day's quarterly theory as confluence or a tool, I would say, because ideally, one thing I've personally realized about the quarterly theory, right, it is basically a displacement of time, right? Most people, the reason, right, they find it hard or to believe or why they struggle with it, would say, right, is simply because they think it's a pattern. AMDX, AM, all this nonsense. That is not the case, right? That is not the case. It's simply time distributions or time cycles that price ideally refers to every specific cycle. Meaning, when you got two cycles, right? I'm going to show you on the chart. When you got two relative cycles, right? I'm using the quarterly theory indicator, but this one is my personal one with just a few additional cycles, like the tertiary cycles and 22.5-day cycles and the nano cycles. If you want this indicator, it's free, right? Hit me up on Instagram or Twitter. I'd say Instagram because I'm barely on Twitter. I'll provide it to you personally, right? Personally, because every time I make it public, for some reason TradingView keeps removing it. So yeah, basically, when you look at the whole idea of like quarterly cycles, like this, right? You have Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, right? Q1 is always gray, base level. Q1 is gray, right? Q2 red, Q3 green, and Q4 blue. Right? Those are like basically the traditional numbers of the quarterly theory, right? People would ideally identify them, right? Ideally identify them as AMBX, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. That is simply not the full truth, right? Accumulation, manipulation, distribution, or in other words, the power of three. That is just the base level understanding of time, right? Very, very base level. It's like the bare minimum, right? That's why people struggle with these concepts, is because they think that's simply what price is doing. Q3 is always distribution. Cycles are always interchanging, right? It's basically what I've been teaching for the past few months in the private mentorship, which I'm removing soon, or I'm going to make it private, meaning no more people can actually join, right? I'll just be teaching you some specific things, right? Not to that specific extreme, right? But I'll be teaching you things here on YouTube, right? Teaching you things here on YouTube that should be ideally enough for most individuals, I'd say, right? But yeah, the cycles basically, in the simplest way of ways to simply explain this, right, is each representative of like each cycle, right? Each similar cycle always refers back to its previous similar cycle, meaning when you got a chart like this, right, you have Q3, which is the green one, right? And you have Q3 right here, right? Price is always referring back to these ranges, right? If I'm to show you in regards to what I mean is this right here. We have two executive ranges, right? Two big ranges. I'm going to make them blue, right? This is Q3, right? Price does its own thing and then always refers back to Q3's range, right? Always refers back to Q3's range to initially react off. This is the constant distribution of what price is constantly doing, right? The easiest one to ideally identify is always going to be Q3, right? Especially when you're trading futures, right, or US related asset classes, right? If you actually pay attention to these three relative cycles, you'll notice we have Q3 right here. You have Q3 right here and Q3 right here. Different days. This is basically sessions, right? Because right now we are on the daily cycles. Daily cycles are basically a full 24-hour range divided into 4 quarters, right? From 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. That is a full 24-hour range. New York time, right? New York time, it's always UTC minus 4 or UTC minus 5. That's basically how you want to understand it, right? So, right, the PD array that I want to introduce to you guys, right, is called a time-based range array, right? We know that price is constantly doing two things. It is either seeking liquidity or rebalancing inefficiencies, right? But there's inefficiencies, there's PD arrays that price is ideally rebalancing. They're all always time-based and they're always within time-based ranges. That's why we call it a time-based range array, right? Time-based range array, right? So what is this? All it simply is a full session or cycle, right? But it needs to be basically 6, right, maximum candlesticks to define the range, meaning I'm on the 90-minute time frame, right? If I go to the 15-minute time frame, these are large ranges. This is not a time-based range array. It needs to be a span of maximum 6, right? Maximum 6 candlesticks within the range, right? Meaning we have this range right here. If you actually calculate from its start to its end, you'll notice it's a full 6 hours and it only consists of 4 bars, right? If you go to the 1 hour time frame, you'll notice that it only consists of 6 bars, right? Ideally, I personally don't use the 1 hour. I use the 90-minute, right? I believe you need a paid subscription for that, but if you're using the 1 hour, that can be your alternative, right? But if you want precision in looking for your time-based range arrays, right, you need the 90-minute time frame, right? This PD arrays, right, are basically price flowing back into the relative similar cycles or sessions, right? Meaning, if you notice this range right here, we have the array, right? Mark that out like this. That's the time-based range array low, right? Time-based range array low. Its high is the time-based range array high, right? If you remove all the blocks and all price-based PD, if you remove all price-based PD arrays, right, you will ideally start seeing ranges, time-based PD arrays, right, or time PD arrays, right? Without the indicator, ideally, you'd need to know this from the back of your head. In the simplest of context, the Q3 one would be from 6 a.m. New York time to 12 o'clock, right? I would suggest you use that one for base level, right? As your base level introduction or your base limit, right? I would highly suggest you use that one, right? So, what does price do with these ranges? Simply goes below them, draws back into the range, exits, distributes, draws to them, goes back into the range, then distributes. That's how you refine it, right? But now, how do you know where price is going to take or where price is going to react within the ranges? It's going to be the imbalances within the time-based range array, right? If you notice within this one right here, right, we have this right here. This is called a CB. Sell side imbalance, buy side inefficient, meaning only sell side was delivered within this range and lack of buy side was not given, right? But in this case, it would be regarded as a breakaway fair value gap because price never draws to the range, right? Never draws to the imbalance, but draws into the time-based range array only to distribute, right? The highest level of precision will ideally happen when price draws to them, right? Simply like this. What does price do? It opens, draws into the range when at Q3, New York AM session, and then what does it do? Distributes lower, right? That would be ideally the easiest one. In future videos, I'll ideally be going into more details about this because it's not a lecture that I can simply provide in a very, very short video because I don't want to make the videos long because, yeah, we got TikTok focus lately, right? But yeah, with that being said, right, I'll be providing you guys more details in regards to this, and hopefully everybody stays safe.